Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the OG and Me. Miles Masercola, is here. Brian Clifton, the OG. Brian, we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Great to be back.
You ready to get to it?
Let's do it.
All right. So we are the Hoop State Network, and we have 3 kids in the class of 2020 in the Hoop State that are starting to garner some serious national attention. Either they're just starting to get it, or they've had it for a long time, and now they're dealing with the ups and downs of kind of being in that national spotlight. Those 3 guys are Isaiah Todd, 6'10" kid out of Trinity Raleigh, Sharpe, 6'9", committed to UNC out of South Central, and Josh Hall, a 6'8" wing at class of 2020 at Moravian Prep. All 3 of these guys, deservingly so, have garnered national recognition for what they've done with their AAU teams, with their high school teams and stuff like that. But we're going to talk about which one, if we're a college basketball head coach, who we want to come in right away. Who, if we had to choose one of those 3 to have an impact on us, which would it be? And I'll let you go first.
First of all 3 of those guys are really, really talented. I appreciate the talent that all of them have. They're all about on the same level for me. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely think the world of the potential of all 3 of them. I think in a previous conversation Miles and I were having, I think there is a decidedly higher ceiling for 1 or 2 of the guys than the other. But for the most part, they're really talented kids that any coach would be lucky to get.
Yeah.
I think though there's enough similarities between them that there is a little bit cause, in my opinion, for concern when recruiting either of those young men.
So, first of all, elaborate on your thoughts and your concerns with that. And for me, I think the answer, who's going to have the impact in college right away, I think it's Sharpe. And we kind of saw his ranking go up. You know, I think a lot of that has to do with the national guys saying, he committed to Carolina. And there's the natural, we're not going to throw him right in the top 25 because of that. But he has gotten consistently better. But you look at a kid that's as physically developed as that, he's definitely more physically developed than either of the other 2. And then the fact that he's a rebounder, he's going to come in and kind of know what he's going to do. He can rebound, he can hit mid-range jump shots, he can score at the rim. Is his back to the basket game ready for the college level? We'll find out. We'll see how much he's working on that. But for me, he might be the choice. He is the choice for being the guy that's most college ready right now.
I want to say that I disagree with that.
Okay.
I want to.
Okay.
I've seen Dayron a couple different times. I think he's a very talented player. I've never seen him really be consistently effective with his back to the basket. With that being the case, a lot of what I think makes people pine for him in high school, this step away from the basket, I just don't see enough worth in that part of his game for him to be able to make an impact on a collegiate level, and even not a year from now. I just don't see it being there. If he was to embrace the back to the basket, gobble up as many rebounds as possible, and just be as productive as he could possibly be for his team, then I see him being a guy who maybe is in that conversation. But as now, I see with that increase of attention and notoriety that comes, guys tend to relax and they get the expression that we use is they get cute. And that cuteness, I see it in him, with his game being a little bit grimier, maybe not as much as an Isaiah Todd, who's again extremely talented.
Yeah, he might have. I think he has the highest ceiling out of any of the 3, in my opinion. But yeah, just the fact that he's 6'10" and can do all those crazy things with the ball, that he is nearly in the lines of such a one-of-a-kind kind of talent. The fact that he is just so unique. But yeah.
Which that's again a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
that are that size that have that degree of talent, it kind of puts you in the space, a jack of all trades, master of none. And what discernible skill does he have that translates to the next level? Because if you want to forecast or predict Isaiah Todd as being a perimeter player, who the heck's he going to guard in the ACC, in the SEC, in the NBA? Who's he going to guard?
Yeah.
And then if you're guarding, if you have him on the perimeter, what happens when a 6'3", 6'4" guard goes and sits down under that crossover that people are in so awe of, and on all the ball skills that he has. What happens when a legitimate perimeter player on that level goes out and sits down on that? I think it changes the dynamics altogether.
That's why I'm not saying Isaiah is going to be the one that has the most impact in college. And like you all said, jack of all trades, master of none. As Isaiah Todd continues to learn how to really apply the gifts that he does have, and I think he even would probably be one to admit this, that as he learns to pinpoint mismatches and understand exactly who's guarding him and where can I take advantage of this and how do I fit in, as he continues to do that, he'll probably become the best player out of all of them, most would say. But is that the impact guy we have from day one? That's the kind of thing where it lies. And Josh Hall, he's going to have an impact from day one just with his fact that he's a 45% three-point shooter at 6'8". But is he going to be physically ready weight-wise? We've seen him add weight and stuff like that. And then we've also seen his ability to create as that's getting better. But against high-level competition, is it there? Probably, some would say, but it's not as much of a sure thing as I'm going to go get you 13 points and 9 rebounds on Daron Sharpe.
I think with Josh in particular, though, again, it's a kid who he's got all the markings of what you want to be excited about with his size, with his length, with his athleticism. The questions that I have for him is, are you going to be able to play with that level of passion that's going to be requisite for the level that you're going to?
Yep.
Are you going to be able to silence the things that are going on around you that could easily distract you? Are you going to be able to walk onto a college campus and lock in and be there and learn the system and do the things that you need to do? Knowing a little bit about his story, he's a kid who wasn't supposed to be. And you go off to Oak Hill and you're not even a second thought there. You start to come into your own, develop a little bit. He takes a year to reclassify, and he does some things that help tip the balance back towards him, and then it starts to happen for you. And now, do you become, are you the same hungry, gritty, grimy guy who kicks butts and takes names and continues to move on to the next objective? Or do you celebrate yourself and you preen up and down the court, and you, one of the things that I've seen out of him, and that it's probably for the kids that are of this generation, I'm always concerned when I see guys that are tweeting and retweeting their own stuff. Like when people say stuff about them. Like the guys that I've been around, that I've had access to, granted the times are different for sure. And those things, although around, they weren't as prevalent as they are now. Those guys weren't concerned about that.
Yeah.
They weren't as concerned about that.
I think with Josh's scenario, I kind of, as you know, I'm closer in age to him. When you're someone that really doesn't get any type of love for a long, long time, and you feel like you deserve it, and whether he deserved it or not, we don't know. But he's clearly put in the work to get to the point now where he's deserving a lot of the praise he's getting. You probably want to show that off just naturally. And I understand your concern with that, but at the same time, it's like putting yourself in that kid's shoes, you can almost completely understand. And the fact that he's still working hard and has consistently gotten better, we'll see, obviously, because it's all really new. You know, he shot from 159 to 59 in the rankings, and that doesn't happen to a lot of kids. So I can only imagine dealing with that at that point in your life. I'm not sure I'm going to take too much of that right now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. I just don't know if a kid, you know, retweeting and sharing people tweeting about him, I don't know if that's a big deal. Again, but that's a generational thing. You'll find that out.
It's absolutely, because again, that if not being of that, of that mindset, not being of that generation, and again, in my formative years as a coach, as an evaluator, whatever, it just wasn't part of the experience of the players that I was involved with.
Gotcha.
And so now it kind of takes it at times. How much credence do you give that? How much do you read into it? Because I don't think it means everything, but it for certain doesn't mean anything either.
Problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm